Hey everyone, laning phase is the most important part of the game. It always has been and always will be. Having solid laning skills translates to having early leads in games, which leads to consistency, which is the actual hard part about League. Being consistent in lane can feel difficult against all the different matchups and playstyles. But today I'm going to give you the secret mechanics of laning phase that you actually won't find anywhere else. The enemy laner won't know about them. I've never seen a single video on the stuff I'm going to share today from any other channel. The concepts here will apply to any matchup and any champion, so don't worry about that either. By the time we're finished, your eyes will be open to how beautiful laning phase can be and why it's the most difficult and high skill part of the game. And keep in mind that if you truly want to perfect your laning and so much more, then you really do need to check out our website Skill Camp. We have dozens of challenger made courses that teach you how to improve in a way that targets what actually works in the Elo, so you spend time only improving on the things that actually matter. Check us out after this. We're going to look at a few different games, all recorded from my point of view so you can see my mouse. I'm going to break down the two main secret mechanics and sprinkle in some small ones in there as well. In this first game though, I'm on Xerath versus Azir in Platinum Gold MMR. Right away, as minions are about to meet, I have a quick tip for you that works extremely well versus any champion that has to stop moving to use their ability. Azir, Ryze are the two that come to mind because they actually have to stop moving to do almost everything. But any champion has to stop moving to auto attack, so you can always do it then. But every time Azir soldier autos, he has to stop. Anytime he uses Q, he stops, and even when he puts a soldier down. I actually learned this concept when figuring out the Zed vs Ryze matchup a long time ago. Zed is good versus Ryze because when Zed ults Ryze, if Ryze tries to use his E into W to root Zed and run away, he's standing still for both of those animations, especially if he wants to use the Q afterwards for movement speed. And this just leads to free triple shurikens for Zed. He basically can't use any abilities because the moment he does, Zed can full combo. This also applies to Zed versus TF. A lot of TF players feel safe when they have a gold card. Then I ult them as Zed, and when TF goes to throw it at me as I'm coming out of ult, I'm already buffering my Q. So all three shurikens come out as he's standing still, hitting me with his stun. So yeah, the tip here is look to use skill shots when the enemy champion is stuck in an animation like I'm about to do to Azir here when he walks up to drop his soldier. Alright, now we can look at the first secret of laning here, a term that comes from fighting games called mental stack. Humans can only focus on so much at once, and players in lower elos are not used to playing against someone that knows how to overwhelm their mental stack and pressure them properly, and this leads to mistakes. Basically, it's stressing the enemy laner out by making them focus on more than they're able to focus on, and making them make choices. You need the enemy laner to really feel your presence. You wouldn't believe the power that this has. Let me show you what I mean. After I threw that Q earlier, watch how I'm going to move in position. I'm going to constantly be walking up into Azir's W range, then preemptively clicking out. While doing this, whenever I back out of his range, I take that time to constantly auto for the push advantage, which is something I should never have as Xerath versus Azir. He's much stronger than me at level 1 and has more wave clear. Notice Azir is trying to use his soldiers to hit the wave, but I'm so close to him that the moment he does, I'm in range to use Q. But I don't use it, because all I'm doing right now is starting the process of the mental pressure. Using Q when he wasn't actually going for last hit is pointless. Instead, I just keep this positioning while grabbing my last hits, and Azir feeling my pressure is making him back up more and more. After I grab my last hits though, I walk up to threaten him like before, and this time he walks up to me like he did at the start, so I knew he was going to put a soldier down, which lets me land a free Q since he has to stop moving for that. We trade an auto here, and then I'm going to hit him with one more Q as he goes to use his soldier to hit the minions. As the wave moves up, look how I'm in Azir's face the whole time he's trying to get these. If I didn't get minion blocked, I would auto him every time he walks up. This brings us to another benefit of this mental pressure. It makes the enemy laner use abilities even when they don't have to or when they shouldn't. Look how Azir puts W down because of my pressure, as he doesn't feel comfortable auto attacking these minions when farming even though he's under tower. As this low health blue minion gets low, I charge up Q to prepare to hit Azir when he goes for it. This also adds to the mental stack. When I'm contesting all of his CS, he will get more and more stressed every time he goes for them because he knows I'm waiting. That's another reason why it's so important to position like you're going to contest them, even if you don't plan on it. Because once you establish you'll contest all their last hits, they'll just start dropping CS out of fear. It doesn't mean to literally always be in their face though. Like when I have last hits to get, I don't want to be vulnerable to him, so I back up out of his range slightly, and then I grab my CS. Also, every player is going to react differently to your pressure. Some will panic and use abilities, some will just start giving up CS. Mental stack pressure is so strong, it will make players forget to use potions and mess up a bunch of small things they don't usually mess up. It'll really mess up their map awareness as well. Actually, really quickly, when I was getting the gameplay for this video, I ran into another Azir when I was on Orianna. Let me show you something. At level 1, I did the same stuff I was doing versus the previous Azir, pressuring him with my body whenever I'm not going for last hits, and making sure to contest his CS whenever my Q is up. Notice anytime Azir steps up just a little bit, I walk towards him and keep that same spacing and pressure. I make sure he knows if he walks up, there is a chance I look to hit him. He walked up for the CS, I walk towards him and he just gives it up. On the first wave at the start of the lane, he wouldn't give up any CS, but now he's starting to give them up. Then he did something that I thought was pretty funny. He's feeling the pressure so much, he just starts dropping soldiers in front of it. I'm not sure if he thought that would stop me from being able to pressure him, but as you can see, he's feeling the pressure for sure. He's giving CS, wasting abilities. This is what I'm talking about. If I wasn't walking him at all, he 100% would not do this. Anyways, moving back to the other game, we're gonna move to another small trick, but this time it's about dodging skill shots. I call this one the no options bait. Basically, I'll put myself in a spot where it seems like I have no way of dodging a skill shot, like a choke point, but I just walk close to the spot where I would actually have no options, but I don't actually go in it. In this example, I'm standing in a spot where it looks like I can't walk down because of the wall next to me, so I basically have to walk backwards in some way. But because I wasn't actually behind the wall yet, I had a little space to walk down towards enemy raptors to dodge this Azir Q. This works especially well when in the little choke point between the mid tower and the wall, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But anyways, after dodging that Q, Azir is extremely vulnerable, so I need to punish that. This is where another trick for landing skill shots comes into play. I call it letting the enemy juke themselves out. The first step to this is noticing how out of position Azir is. Look, he has no way of trading with me here, and I'm cutting him off while he needs to walk to the tower, and he knows skill shots are coming his way. So instead of rushing and using them right away, I'm going to let him panic and choose what he wants to do while I close the distance. If he keeps running up, away from his tower, he would just be dead, but he realizes this and turns around and walks towards his tower. Now I can use my W, Q, and another auto to finish the trade, and I'll show you another example of this in a second. But I flash in to finish him with an auto, even though I had a good feeling it wouldn't be enough damage, just barely, and he does live. He's going to TP back in while I shove the wave though. I chunk him with my stun into Q, then recall and TP back in as well. Azir is at half health with no potions because he didn't have any gold after being forced to recall. I'm not going to just let him shove the wave as he's very killable, so I just walk right up to him and open with W to slow, then Q. He still has plenty of health and it would take a good amount of autos, but I also have plenty of health to work with, so I just keep autoing. Then let's pause. This is where the two concepts from earlier come in. For him, he needs to use the no options bait here. And for me, I just need to let him juke himself out. He needs to walk towards the choke point between his tower and the wall so I can't catch up to him and just keep autoing. Then right before going into the choke, walk in front of the tower instead. That's the best way of dodging my E here. Especially when I'm walking at him, letting him juke himself out, he's just letting me get more and more autos. Now, the moment he did this is when he was screwed because he let me get too close. Now he actually has no options. He pinned himself on the wall. He can't walk up away from the tower because then I just run him down. So now that he juked himself into a spot where it's not possible to dodge my E, that's when I throw it, then finish him for the kill. Alright, let's move on to the next game, where I'm on Zed versus Yasuo. The secret mechanic here is another thing from fighting game, footsies. Using footsies along with properly applying mental stack pressure with positioning, 99% of the player base will crumble in lane. Think of footsies like walking in and out of the range of the enemy laner's ability to make them whiff. In a fighting game, you use this opportunity to whiff punish them. In League though, it just gives you an advantage for however long their cooldown is. In the Zed vs Yasuo matchup, this concept is so important for two reasons. One, Yasuo is way stronger than Zed at level 1 because of his low cooldown Q and lethal tempo. And two, every time you bait Yasuo a Q and he misses, he has to restart his stack, so it makes it hard for him to get his third Q tornado. Knowing this, let's jump in here. There's a semi-low minion there that I want to grab. If I just wait for it to get really low, then walk up, Yasuo can easily hit me with his Q when I go for it, or I would have to give it up. Instead, I'm going to walk up now, early. Watch my mouse. I click towards the minion to walk into Yasuo's max range of his Q, then I walk back and he whiffs. Also, another small tip here that I learned from watching Korean pro players way back in the day. Look how much closer to my character I'm clicking and how much I'm clicking. When I need to have specific spacing like this, I will click more and closer to be as precise as possible. Anyways, now that I baited his Q, I can walk up and get these 3 CS uncontested. That's extremely important considering how bad of a matchup at level 1 this is for me. Now that I have no CS to get, I can go back to using the two concepts, mental pressure and footsies. As you can see, they go hand in hand. You can do both at the same time, because even when Yasuo Q is down, I'm still going to apply the mental pressure by posturing like I'm going to try and poke him, even if I don't plan to. Remember, the enemy laner does not know your exact cooldowns. The pressure here made him feel like he needed to use Q on this minion. Then, when I'm one minion from level 2, I throw my Q at Yasuo, auto the minion as he approaches, telegraphing his Q, so I sidestep, grab my E, and finish the trade. After crashing the wave under tower, I keep up the same pressure. Look, I throw Q when he goes for CS, I stand right next to the CS he's going for, so if he uses E like this, I can hit him with Q, E, and an auto. And after that chunk, which puts him into kill range, the enemy Nocturne comes from our blue to gank me, but I had a cannon wave coming, so I make him chase me a bit, then turn and finish him off. Notice though, in both games, Xerath vs Azir and Zed vs Yasuo, the enemy laner has a much stronger level 1 than me, with more consistent damage and more wave clear, and lower cooldowns. I should never be able to win level 1, but because of these tricks and two main concepts, it was easy to get control of the lane right away, and having early pressure in that lane is what led to Nocturne ganking me when he shouldn't, and it got me the kill. Alright guys, you now have a few of the secret tricks of laning that will enable you to win lanes much easier. If you apply these, you will see how strong and how well they work right away. Alright guys, remember that if you want to master your laning skills and so much more, then become a member over at our website so you can start climbing stupidly fast. There's no risk, as if you don't rank up at least 5 divisions when actively using skill cap, then you can claim a full refund. Thanks for watching.